Alright, welcome back Twitch, welcome back YouTube. Let's get back to just another game, Danganronpa, Trigger Happy Havoc. And we need to figure out who killed Mukuro, which might be the first and only time I've ever pronounced that name somewhat properly. Hooray for me.
That's a good point. Rather than wasting time bickering, we should put our minds to work solving this mystery.
Let's look for clues, gang!
Yeah, well, how much time have we already spent talking about the murder?
Well, then let's pick up where we left off.
He's right. What more is there to talk about?
If you want something to talk about, I think there might be one thing. We haven't fully established what Mukuro's fatal injury was.
Huh? But I thought we figured that out. She died when she got hit in the back of the head.
No, that isn't actually what killed her. Wouldn't you agree, Makoto?
I fast forward too early. Mukuro's actual cause of death must have been... well, it wasn't the stab wound. According to Kyoko, it wasn't the blow to her head. That only leaves the other wounds.
I got it! All of the wounds covering her body. That's what really killed her.
Hey, now hold on a second. You did read the Monokuma file, right?
The body was covered with other wounds, but these were at least several days old.
It made it pretty clear. Those wounds were made at least a few days ago. So they can't possibly be what killed her.
Consider this. What if the murder itself took place at least a few days ago?
What?
What if, when we discovered her body, she'd already been dead for several days? If that's true, then naturally the wounds that killed her would appear to be however many days old.
That doesn't make any sense.
Actually does.
Because she had all those wounds before she ever came here.
Not according to her profile.
How do you know that?
Isn't it obvious? She was the ultimate soldier, right? So that means, you know...
You're wrong.
She denied me before I could even say anything.
Can we all agree that Toko's voice actress is incredibly talented?
Come on. I mean, you think I'm not weird, okay? At least listen to what I have to say before you deny me.
If you're so sure we're gonna deny you, why bother saying it in the first place? Make another argument. Group photo, DVD, profile, ebook, control room.
Mukuro was the ultimate soldier. She must have been in 100 different battles. So, when you think about it, obviously, she got all those wounds.
I'm actually impressed I did that the first time. And break.
No, Mukuro didn't suffer those wounds in battle. The file we found in the headmaster's room said as much. Despite the time she spent in battle after battle as a member of Fenrir, when she entered this school, she hadn't sustained a single injury.
To be denied so completely. Actually, it's kind of refreshing.
Oh God, what the hell goes on between your hips?
Maybe it's because of all of Master's training.
Anyway, so we can be sure that Mukuro suffered all those wounds after coming to this school. In which case, they could be the very thing that killed her.
As a matter of fact, it's hard to imagine any other possibility. When examining her body, I found that her stomach and head wounds came after she was already dead.
Are we ever gonna reveal that you're the ultimate detective to everybody else?
Unless anyone has any better suggestions, I think we can say this with confidence. The wounds Mukuro sustained all over her body are what ultimately killed her.
Mukuro's fatal injury has been added to the truth bullet section of your handbook. Also, boobs.
But if that's what killed her, then does that mean she's really been dead for who knows how long?
That's exactly what it means. When we found her body in the garden, she'd already been dead for several days.
Big silhouette boobs.
So then, what about the little matter of what happened last night? Makoto, you said you were attacked in your room by a masked assailant. If Mukuro had already been dead for several days, certainly it couldn't have been her. So who was it that attacked you?
The identity of the one who attacked me? I can't think of anyone else. It was the Mastermind, of course.
I got it! The one who attacked me was the true Mastermind. When we discovered Mukuro in the garden wearing the same mask, I naturally assumed she must have been the one who attacked me. But I was wrong. It wasn't her at all. It was the Mastermind.
What are you laughing at?
Oh, don't mind me. I'm just getting a little impatient sitting here listening. I think I'm gonna jump in.
Monokuma has joined the chat.
Let's start off with a nice, easy question. Your assumption that I attacked Makoto is just that, right? An assumption. You can't really know who was under that mask, can you? I mean, that's the whole point of a mask. The true identity of the masked attacker is Mukuro Ikusaba. At least, that's what I think.
Well, if you say it, it has to be true.
Do you have any evidence that might convince me otherwise?
No, there's no way Mukuro is the one that attacked me. Even if I didn't see their face. Mukuro had a very obvious Fenrir tattoo. Comparing that to the masked attacker, it should be obvious. Make an argument. Monokuma file number 5. Really? That's the only one? I have a feeling I'm not going to be using that.
You never saw their face, right? So you can't have any idea who was under that
Exactly.
mask.
If it's on the internet,
I'm
it
telling you
must be
now,
true.
It was Mukuro Ikusaba.
You're wrong.
And no fake
Even
nails,
without
true.
seeing their face, there's another part of the attacker we can use to prove it wasn't her.
Oh? And what is this other part?
The boobs!
Is it the right hand? Or the left hand? Maybe the right foot?
I like how they do this.
Perhaps the left foot? Or could it be the hips?
It was definitely the hips. Her most noticeable feature, the tattoo that marked her membership in Fenrir. That tattoo was in a certain easy-to-spot area. Them hips don't lie. Didn't Junko get bodied with a shit ton of spears? Yes, actually.
You never saw their face, right? So you can't have any idea who was under that mask. I'm telling you now, it was Mukuro Ikusaba.
I got blocked.
You're wrong.
That's what I get for being
without
confident.
Seeing their face, there's another part of the attack.
Oh? And what is it, the right hand? Or the left hand? Maybe the, or perhaps, or could
I love how they do
be
that.
The hips.
That's so cool.
You never saw
They're so
their
creative
face,
with the text in this
right?
game, in this part of the game.
So you can't have any idea who was under that. I'm telling you now.
And there's the break.
Wrong.
Damn it. Nick beat you to it. Well, Eric beat him to it,
Mukuro had a
so...
tattoo on her right hand, if I remember correctly. A representation of Fenrir. In other words, a wolf tattoo.
Oh, sorry about that.
But I saw the right hand of the person who attacked me. And there was no such tattoo. So there's no way the person behind the mask was Mukuro.
Yeah, well, okay. You got me. I guess it wasn't her. But that still doesn't prove that it was me. It could have been, you know, someone else, right?
Hiro, Toko, Hina, and I all have solid alibis for that entire night.
Yeah! We were in the gym tearing you apart, so it could have been any of us.
Great alibi.
Oh, okay, sure. It couldn't have been any of you. But what about Kyoko? It totally could have been her.
Gloves.
Uh-oh, no snappy comeback.
Scars.
Score a bullseye.
If you insist, I don't mind showing you.
Huh? Show me what?
What do you think? I'll show you the one thing that proves beyond a shadow of a doubt it wasn't me.
Before anyone could say anything, Kyoko was removing her gloves.
Your hands!
They are kind of fucked up. Yeah, there we go. You can at least see the fingertips. Without thinking, I let out a gasp. It was more than just a little burned skin.
Awful, isn't it? It happened when I was first learning to be a detective. I was inexperienced.
I thought you didn't want anyone to see those scars.
If it means we get another step closer to unmasking the mastermind, it doesn't really bother me.
Kyoko seemed to savor the words as she said them. Then she put her gloves back on. I wonder if they were chemical
scars
burns.
Should suffice as proof. Makoto, did the person who attacked you have scars like mine?
No, your hands are ugly. We'd remember those.
No, not at all. I'm positive.
Then this much has been made clear. There can be no doubt that the one who attacked Makoto is the true mastermind.
This is just awful! On top of my secret being revealed, I had to look at those positively grotesque scars of yours. Sorry, did I say that out loud? I do hope I didn't hurt your feelings.
Not at all. You can say whatever you want.
Sure, as long as it means pushing me farther into the corner, right? But I'm not cornered just yet. Because if you haven't noticed, the circumstances surrounding Mukuro's death are totally unknown.
That's true. All we know right now is she was killed a good while before this morning.
On the contrary, we don't know anything other than that.
You're not going to tell us she was already dead before we
off,
arrived here or
Monica.
something, are you?
In that regard, you have nothing to worry about. I promise you, without a doubt, she died after our little killing game began here.
Then somehow she was killed in secret without any of us knowing.
And after she died, who knows how much time went by before we found her, right? Did the culprit stash her somewhere? She couldn't have been in the garden the whole time.
Oh
could
god, she would have melted.
If she was, she would have been totally decomposed. Just like your brain.
Then she was being stored somewhere?
But to hide a body here, to just store it somewhere?
There's only one place. I can't think of anywhere else the body could have been stored. The biolab.
I got it! Mukuro's body was probably kept hidden in the biolab.
Biolab? You mean on the 5th floor?
That's right. It's actually set up for use as a morgue. So it's the perfect place to hide a body. And
Oh, shit.
Then
I'm
you're
gonna stop
also
doing that.
saying the body was moved from the biolab to the garden.
And I have no doubt that that's exactly what happened. In fact, I have proof.
The proof that shows the body was carried from the biolab to the garden. There's something that made its way from the biolab to the garden. The tarp with the biolab stamp. The tarp found in the garden had played a part in Mukuro's murder. Biolab had been stamped onto one corner of the tarp. You know, if we had noticed this before, everybody would have known we couldn't get into the fucking biolab. But we didn't look at it.
What makes me so sure the body was carried from the biolab to the garden is the tarp that we found in the garden.
Oh, Mom found you out. Oh, rip. Effing chat, boys and girls. Alright, have a good night, Y. Everyone give an F. Thanks for coming out and staying as long as you could.
When I was checking it over again, I noticed something. I noticed that some text had been stamped on one corner of the tarp.
Oh, it says Biolab.
Have a good weekend. I will be streaming for a short time for charity tomorrow, so if you're around, feel free to swing by and say hi. But if I don't see you until Monday, have a good weekend.
Holy cow! How'd you notice that tiny little thing?
With my eyes.
Makoto's nitpicky nature seems to have surfaced with perfect timing.
This proves that the tarp originally came from the biolab. In fact, there's a whole stack of tarps just like it in there.
So when the killer moved the body to the garden, they must have grabbed a tarp to wrap it in. Then they simply left it as it was to protect against the sprinklers, and put the coat on it afterwards.
You made everything sound so amazingly consistent.
That's what happens when you use logic!
That's just a wild guess! Where's your evidence? Prove that the body was wrapped in a tarp and moved!
There is no evidence. I was simply explaining what I think happened. But you seem to be getting pretty worked up about it, wouldn't you say?
Worked up?
Now that the conversation has turned to the topic of the biolab, you must be getting pretty nervous. Because the key to uncovering your secret identity is hidden within that room, isn't it?
Are you talking about unmasking the mastermind?
You see, the biolab contained an inconsistency.
God damn it. An inconsistency in the biolab? Could you be talking about...
La la la, I can't hear you. La 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 la.
Such a child. Oh well, just ignore him.
I need to pull myself together and think. The inconsistency in the biolab, could you be talking about...
Hey, by the way, Makoto, what about that one thing?
What one thing?
What do you think? I'm talking about your family.
What? There were 9 bodies instead of 10.
Don't tell me you forgot about that video message. So what do you think? Are you sure your family's still okay?
There were 16 students in the killing game, but there are only 9 lights on in the morgue. And there are 6 of us alive, so we thought.
Why are you bringing that up now?
Your mom, your dad, your little sister. What do you think has happened to your family?
Probably dead. Can we go back to what we were talking about before?
Are they really as safe as you might have assumed?
I kind of hated my family, so...
Stop talking about that!
Calm down, Makoto. He wants you to get upset.
Yeah, I need to calm down. I can't let him get to me. He's just saying that because he knows we're getting close to the truth of the biolab. So if I want to shut him up, I need to expose the inconsistency and slam him with it. The inconsistency has to be that one area where the numbers just don't match up. That was a weird slowdown. Oh God.
Are you sure about this? That's impossible! Are you sure about this? That's impossible! What? What do you want? Are you sure about this? That's impossible! Are you sure about this? That's impossible! Are you sure about this? That's impossible! Are you sure about this?
Final strike.
I'm not listening!
There we go.
This should prove it.
And there's a very important break.
The inconsistency Kyoko's talking about is the lights.
What are you talking about? What about the lights?
First try. I'm surprised he didn't hit me with negative time.
Like I said before, the biolab also acts as a morgue. And as part of that, a giant refrigerator was installed in there. That's where everyone who's died is stored.
And it was set up so that when a slot had a body in it, a blue light would turn on.
In other words, if the blue light is on, that means there's a body in that slot.
But I counted up the number of blue lights that were on, and there were only 9.
I don't know why I'm doing that all of a sudden. It's pissing me off.
Why does that matter? You gotta give me the bite-sized version here, man.
9 lights doesn't make sense. The number of lights that should be on is there are 4 lights, 8 lights, 6 lights, or 10 lights.
I got it! 10 of the lights should have been on. Any other number is incredibly suspicious.
Suspicious? Why?
That's one of my favorite Star Trek references.
That's simple. Just recall who's died here so far, and it should become clear.
That's right. That's the key to solving this mystery. Sayaka died first. Junko was second. Leon was third. Chihiro was fourth. Mondo was fifth. Taka was sixth. Hifumi was seventh. Celeste was eighth. And Sakura was ninth. And victim number 10 was Mukuro.
So 10 people in all?
That's right. Any other number should make you immediately suspicious.
That's a lot of killing.
But according to the lights in the biolab, only 9 people were being stored there.
You're saying a dead body just up and disappeared?
I got it! The mastermind destroyed one of the bodies to get rid of evidence.
That doesn't make sense.
But if they wanted to do that, they would have destroyed Mukuro's body, since they actually killed her. And yet, her body was left alone.
Then, whose body disappeared?
It may very well be that none of them disappeared.
But if that's true, then why doesn't the body count match?
Including Monokuma's executions, there have apparently been 10 deaths, but there were only 9 bodies.
By the way, shouldn't like Mondo not be in a body bag? He was made into butter. He was made into man butter.
That's the point I'm trying to make.
He could have been kept in any refrigerator, but we're gonna ignore that.
I'm completely lost. How can the number of victims be less than the number of murders?
The reason there are less bodies than murders, the explanation for more murders than victims. He just said that to Tech. Why is that? What would it take for that to make sense? Only 9 murders took place. The mastermind destroyed a body. The same person was killed twice. Well, that doesn't make sense, and neither does that. Only 9 murders took place. Oh. Or not. Oops. Okay, so it was the other one.
Shoot!
I've fucked that up. I got that backwards. Alright, so then it has to be that someone was killed twice. I was thinking about it too literally.
I got it!
Yeah.
What about if the same person was killed twice?
This is one of the cases where my logic and the game's logic kind of crossed, but we were thinking about the same idea.
Huh? Killed twice?
Officially, 10 murders have been committed so far.
And the problem with that is I was kind of thinking ahead. Oops.
But one of the victims may have been murdered, and then murdered again.
And I wasn't thinking of it this way.
Murdered and murdered again?
Someone murdered someone's stunt double.
If that's the case, there could have been 10 killings, but still only 9 victims, right?
Technically, you're right, I guess. Still, something like that.
Could easily have happened. No, it is what happened.
Sounds like you're already convinced. Then can you tell us who was killed twice?
It was Mukuro, of course. Before she was killed as Mukuro Ikusaba, she was killed as someone else.
And that's why the body had to be stored in the biolab until the moment we found it in the garden.
No, that's crazy talk. She was killed as someone else? Come on! Besides, who could that someone else even have been?
All you have to do is look at those bodily injuries of hers, and that will become obvious.
Nothing's gonna become obvious. Because Kyoko's totally delusional.
I mean, that does make sense. Kyoko could be totally delusional. Make an argument. Monokuma file number 5. Alright, let's see what we have here.
Who is this someone else that Mukuro was killed as? Was it Sayaka Maizono? Junko Enoshima? Leon Kuwata? Chihiro Fujisaki? Mondo Owada? Kiyotaka Ishimaru? Hifumi Yamada? Celestia Lu... whatever? Or maybe... Sakura Ogami? No. There's no way anyone was murdered twice!
Mukuro died from the wounds she had all over her body. Wasn't there someone else who suffered the same sort of injury?
Who is this someone else that Mukuro was killed as? Was it Sayaka Maizono? Junko Enoshima? Leon Kuwata?
Fuck.
Chihiro, Mondo,
Well, that ruins the
Kiyotaki,
drama.
Fumi, Celestia, or maybe... No, there's no way anyone was murdered twice!
Who is this someone else that Mukuro... Was it Sayaka Maizono? Junko Enoshima?
Shit. You won me, Makoto. Words can cut just as deep as any blade, you know? First try, shut the hell up.
Shoot!
I mean, it's not like everyone hasn't figured it out by now.
Who is this someone else that Mukuro was killed as? Was it Sayaka Maizono? Junko Enoshima? Leon Kuwata?
You would have figured out as soon as I got that bullet.
Mondo Owada?
Kennedy!
Kiyotaka Ishimaru? Hifumi Yamada? Celestia Lu...
I wish they hadn't done it this way.
whatever?
I was expecting to cycle through.
Or maybe Sakura Ogami? No. There's no way anyone was murdered twice!
Fuck!
Is this someone else? Was it
Sayaka Junko Enoshima?
Leon,
This is like
Chihiro,
one of the places
Mondo,
where
Kiyotaki, Fumi,
the controls are screwing me over a little bit.
Or maybe Sakura. No.
Whiskey emote. No shit.
There's no way anyone was murdered twice.
No, that's wrong.
There we go. And a break.
Junko.
See, I was expecting to cycle around the portraits. That would have been a lot more dramatic.
Wasn't her fatal injury pretty similar to Mukuro's?
What do you mean?
Well, remember what happened to her?
Kinda hard to forget.
She was impaled by a bunch of spears. all over her body.
And Mukuro died from a number of wounds across her body.
That were several days old.
When you compare that to the stab wounds Junko suffered,
Then those similarities match?
Yes, and those are the only fatal injuries that match up. That explains why those two bodies are actually one and the same.
so let me see if I have this straight. Junko, or someone going by that name, was stabbed to death with multiple spears. Then her body was kept in the biolab for however long before being dragged out again. Only this time, it was presented as the corpse of one Mukuro Ikusaba.
It all matches up, right? Those wounds Junko suffered could easily be these same injuries.
It's really true? Mukuro and Junko are the same person? Wait, so then... what does it all mean?
It means that there haven't been 10 victims, but 9. Which also means that among the people we thought were dead, one is still alive.
And that's the true identity of the mastermind?
Who is it? Who's behind all this?
We already know the answer to that. It's Mukuro. She's still alive. She took Junko's body and made it look like she was the one who died. So Mukuro is still alive. She's gotta be. Total silence? Then I must be right. I'm right, aren't I?
Mukuro alive? The one that's still alive is Mukuro? But can we really believe that? No, there's no way. There's no way Mukuro Ikusaba's still alive. Mukuro had the damn tattoo! How many times do we have to do that?
The body we found in the garden. It wasn't Mukuro.
Then she's still alive?
Well, this will be a short
That's
one.
right.
I just want to look
She
for the
made
other
it
weak
look like
arguments.
Junko's body was her. So the mastermind's true identity is Mukuro.
What do you say, Monokuma? Do you give up?
For that to be true, then that could have been her body we found in the garden. Is that really possible?
The body we found in the garden. It wasn't Mukuro.
Oh, I got
Then
shielded
she's
by the
still
purple
alive?
noise.
That's right.
Really, that's a hell of a hitbox.
Mastermind-
What do you say, Monica?
The body we found in the garden. It wasn't Mukuro.
No, that's wrong. No, the body we found in the garden was Mukuro. That's one thing we can be sure of. The body's appearance and measurements are consistent with her records. Right, Kyoko?
She was 5 foot 6 inches tall and weighed 97 pounds. Her vitals were 31, 21, 32.
I compared them. Her breasts were that big. Big-breasted bitch.
Everything in her profile is consistent with that corpse.
It's all down to the boobs.
And then there's the matter of the Fenrir tattoo. So there's no question it's her.
But if Mukuro's not the mastermind, then who's actually still alive?
Someone's made it look like they died, but they're actually still alive. There's only one person it could be. Is it me? No, I'm still alive. I don't think it's Sayaka. She was hot. Also, she was like stabbed once. We don't like him and he's kind of stupid. We'll come back to that. She committed suicide. She's alive. He's dead and turned into butter. She's alive. He's Monokuma. He's alive. Chihiro was crushed. He's alive. She was burned to death. Probably not her. Leon was beaten with baseballs. She's unfortunately alive. He was hit in the back of the head. And I'm still alive. Well, if Mukuro's alive, and Mukuro and Junko are the same person,
Here's my answer.
it's Monokuma!
Junko is still alive. It's the only possibility.
Are you sure about that?
Huh?
I admit, since Mukuro is undoubtedly dead, Junko does seem to be the only other explanation.
It's Patrick. It's always Patrick.
But we saw her get impaled. She died right before our very eyes. If Junko were still alive, the death we saw would had to have been some kind of charade. But you yourself confirmed she was dead, did you not?
Now that you mention it, I touched her lifeless body even though she was clearly impaled. Yep, she's dead. I touched her wrist to check for a pulse like they do in movies and stuff, but she really is dead. There wasn't anything else to say, she was gone. I did check absolutely, and I can say for sure.
She was dead. There's no question. Junko was dead.
So, the idea that she's still alive.
It must be wrong.
Then you're withdrawing your previous statement?
I know you gave it your best shot, but too bad. I guess your conclusion was a dud. Too bad, too bad.
This case hasn't been decided just yet.
Waifu 2 in for the save!
Oh? You haven't given up already, have you, Makoto?
Huh?
No, of course not. There's no way I'd give up that easy.
That's all well and good, but how do you intend to solve the problem standing in your way? Junko absolutely died. Mukuro absolutely died.
Then both of them are dead, right? There can't be any kind of survivor story.
I think we need to look at this from the opposite direction.
Huh? The opposite direction?
Let's assume Junko is still alive. If so, how could she have survived?
How could Junko have survived? I checked her, she was dead, I'm sure of it. But still, if she were alive somehow, could it be that Junko's not the one that died? It wasn't Junko, but someone else entirely? Maybe she used some sort of trick. Hangman's Gambit. I didn't get that in time. Wow, these are getting fast. Replaced.
Now I understand.
Killed her butler. I killed her butter. Complete.
That's it. What if she switched
Skynet.
places with someone else?
Switch places?
That's right. Before the spears could kill her, she got someone to take her place. Specifically, Mukuro Ikusaba.
Then that would make it Mukuro's corpse that showed up later.
She did the ninja replace.
Which is why the body's height and weight and everything match Mukuro's profile, right?
I don't know anything about this switching places thing, but that had to be Junko who got stabbed to death, right?
Yeah, you're saying they switched? When could they even have done that? Right when she was about to die? Like she used some kind of ninja replacement technique?
Good point. There's just no way they could have switched like that. So maybe the whole idea is wrong.
There has to be some way. I need to figure out how to explain that they could have switched. They switched at the moment of death. They switched after death. What if they were already switched at the beginning?
I got it! The two of them may have switched places from the very beginning.
What? From the beginning?
In other words,
Yes, from the moment we first met.
the person we met wasn't Junko.
If that's when they switched, then they wouldn't have had to switch at the moment of death, right?
I mean, they could have switched at any point between now and then. Like, there was an overnight.
After all, the one we saw at that point would have already been Mukuro.
Hold on. So, you're saying the Junko we first met was actually Mukuro all along?
Then we'd already met her?
I had like a normal conversation with her.
When
would
we
you know?
first met, none of us knew who anyone else was. So Mukuro could have simply told us her name was Junko, and we never would have known the difference.
Because we are stupid! Also
That
amnesia.
would easily allow the two of them to switch places from the very beginning.
Wait, but Mukuro had a tattoo on the back of her hand, right? Junko never had any tattoo like that, did she?
She could have hidden it with foundation or something like that. If she did, it likely melted away in the explosion, exposing the tattoo after the body was extinguished. Plus, there were the fake nails found on the hands of Mukuro's body. They were the same fake red nails she was wearing when we all met for the first time.
But if she really did use foundation,
Correct. Even if there was no tattoo on her hand, I couldn't say for certain it wasn't Mukuro. So I'm glad nobody noticed that glaring hole when we were trying to figure out who attacked Makoto. But too bad for you, Monokuma. You can't deny it anymore.
Wait, so this whole thing was a setup from the very beginning?
If that's true, it was quite an elaborate plan to be sure, making it look like Mukuro was Junko.
The reason such an elaborate plan was possible is because the two of them were working together.
So Mukuro, the ultimate despair, teamed up with someone like her. In other words, it would be fair to say that Junko herself was also the ultimate despair.
What's wrong? Lost the will to fight back?
Bear no talk now.
I think he's just afraid.
Afraid? What's that mean, afraid? Fear is only possible where hope is possible. I only have despair, so fear is an alien concept to me.
Then why haven't you been saying anything?
Because it's a bunch of nonsense. Junko's my secret identity? As if.
Then why did you try and protect Junko's real identity?
I tried to protect her identity? When did I do that?
So he still refuses to admit it, but he can try to deceive us all he wants, it doesn't matter. Because I've already figured it out. He tried to hide Junko's identity, and not just once, but twice. The first time was during our latest investigation. Probably the group photo. Hold on, what matters now is presenting the right evidence. It has to do with what Monokuma tried to keep me from seeing during the investigation. Okay, so it's not that. Oh, is it the body? Alright, let's look at all the evidence. The video? Oh, you're right.
I got it! While I was in the AV room, watching the DVD of our interviews with the headmaster.
It wasn't just the monitor, blah blah blah, which of course meant blah blah blah. Blah blah blah? Blah. Blah 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 blah? Blah. Blah 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 blah.
You made sure I couldn't finish watching the video. And the reason you did that is because you didn't want me to see the real Junko, did you?
Oh, yeah! If everyone was in that video, of course Junko would have had to show up.
And if Makoto saw the real Junko, it would have been totally obvious that the Junko we met was an imposter.
That whole power outage thing was just a fluke!
No, it wasn't a fluke. The Mastermind definitely orchestrated that power outage. And that's not the only time they tried to hide Junko's identity. The Mastermind tried to cover up one other piece of evidence. I've got to reveal that. Moment of truth. Oh, we gotta do this again.
Sure about this? You're getting all riled up! That's impossible!
Final strike.
That's impossible!
This should prove it.
Roar!
The video wasn't the only thing you tried to cover up. You did the same thing with this group photo.
Uh-oh.
I noticed it just a little while ago, when we were all comparing the photos we'd gotten. In all the photos, there's a certain similarity, an unusual circumstance.
What's so unusual about them?
The unusual circumstance common to all these pictures. The unusual circumstance is Junko's face, as we've noticed.
I got it! Junko's face. The one thing common to every single photo is that you can't see her face.
I still say Sakura's terrifying on the track.
It's hard to believe her face would just happen to be hidden in every single picture, don't you think? And on top of that, in this photo, you can see that Mukuro is clearly visible. So in other words, at that point, the two of them hadn't switched yet. With all that in mind, there's no doubt that the girl whose face is hidden here is the real Junko. Which is why you had to have pictures that didn't show her face. Because if we could have seen her face, then it would have clearly revealed that the Junko in the pictures wasn't the Junko that we knew.
Xanadu!
I believe everything Makoto said is true. Junko and Mukuro switched places before we met either of them.
So she killed Mukuro, who had taken her place, making it look like she'd died. And the real Junko is still alive.
And she's the one behind this whole murderous situation. This killing game. She's the true mastermind and the ultimate despair.
Xanadu times 2!
Xanapu?
With this, the identity and the crimes of the mastermind have been exposed.
No, wait! Hold on!
Don't bother trying to deny it. There's no more room for debate. You don't have anywhere left to run. I'll prove everything, right now.
Okay, we have to do a closing argument. Who is the identity of the ultimate fashionista who I met in the main hall? Let's take a look. I have a feeling, yeah, okay. That'd be Junko. Or so we thought. Where did the mastermind keep Mukuro's body? She kept it on ice. The mastermind attacked me with something. What was it? Oh, wrong button. It would be the NIF. The NIF. It was the NIF. When the mastermind attacked me, who was it that stopped them? That would be Kyok. After their surprise attack failed, the mastermind fled my room. Why do I need a... Okay. I guess this is fleeing. What did the mastermind do with the mask after they took it off? Ah, there we go. They put it on the corpse. What was the condition of the dead body when I first found it in the garden? It was stewed. Also whole. We couldn't identify the mysterious body because it got blown up. So now it's this. Alright, let's take a look and make sure these pictures make sense. Alright. There's the meeting, there's Junko and Mukuro. Junko gets stabbed, or Mukuro gets stabbed, she gets put on ice. It was a NIF. There's the confrontation, there's the fleeing. There's putting the mask on, there's the whole body. There is the exploded body. I think we're good.
Here's exactly what happened. We met the ultimate fashionista, Junko and Oshima, right after we all arrived here.
I mean, obviously, Makoto couldn't identify her face. He was staring directly at her breasts. Holy shit.
But that wasn't the real Junko. The girl we saw before us was actually the 16th student who had taken Junko's place. And that girl's name was Mukuro Ikusaba. But it wasn't long before she died at the hands of Monokuma. In other words, the mastermind, Junko and Oshima. Her body was kept in a biolab, which had been converted into a morgue, until Junko decided to put her body to use. Junko dragged the body out of the biolab, using the tarp to carry her to the garden. She fabricated the murder to try and frame Kyoko, who'd proven to be one big thorn in her side. Meanwhile, she wanted us all to think Mukuro was still alive and hiding somewhere inside the school. So she put on a mask and then attacked me.
Who had been one big thorn in her side.
After making sure I'd gotten a good look at the mask, she left the room. Then she put the same mask on Mukuro's body.
Not a copy of the mask, not a spare mask she had behind. The exact same mask, which is kind of stupid if anybody had caught her.
This was all to make us think the person who attacked me and the corpse were one and the same. She wanted us to believe the murder had only recently taken place.
Pop, pop.
Finally, by strapping a bomb to the body, she was able to destroy any remaining evidence. She needed to hide the body's true identity. She had to make sure we didn't find out it was actually the same person we'd met in the beginning. This is the truth behind Mukuro's murder, and the one who carried it all out is the true mastermind. The one controlling Monokuma. The real Junko Enoshima!
And complete.
That's the whole story behind this incident. Well, what do you have to say to that?
What? Are you broken again?
You can't get out of this, so don't even try.
Come on! It's time you finally revealed yourself!
It's not like you're an endangered species or something. How long do you plan to keep hiding?
Give it up, Junko. The game's over.
Everyone doing the Ace Attorney point. Hiro, you're not even pointing at him!
Over. Did you really think the story would end once we reached the climax of the case? Wrong! There's still plenty more to go!
The ultimate despair, Junko Enoshima.
We have been waiting so very long for peasants like you to appear. If you swear your fealty to us, we will reward you with half of the entire world. We've even drawn up the deed already. We will grant you honor, status, in some of our home cooking. Have you made your choice? Will you serve under us?
You know, if I could save at this point, I would choose... Okay. It's a weird choice for a voice. You will actually really start to appreciate her voice.
Oh, did you think I was being serious? Sorry, I was just messing with you. It's been so long since I've had an audience. Even I'm not sure what kind of role I'm supposed to play.
This is the mastermind? It sure is! Finally! The mastermind has been revealed as Junko Enoshima. And with that, believe it or not, the first half of the trial has come to an end. So YouTube, you're done for the day. You'll get to see the rest tomorrow. Thank you guys for coming out and joining me. I always appreciate that. Thank you for the cheer, Nick. If you enjoyed what you saw, YouTube, make sure you leave me likes, comments, subscribes. I will see you guys tomorrow, or the weekend, whenever this goes up, I'm not sure. YouTube, or Twitch, we will, of course, be finishing this tonight. So strap in. We're gonna take a final break, I think, before we continue. So, I'll see you guys in 5 minutes.